dual benefit. We support them, and the agents that are coming through that are new to us see that we are supporting the At Properties agents, and I think it's reciprocal.
And I think another thing to touch on is I feel like the best agents really form a great team. And it's not just an attorney and a lender, but it's all services that a buyer or a seller might need.
Today, I'm joined by two successful loan officers who know the mortgage market inside and out. Mike Nielsen and Val King of OriginPoint have years of experience partnering with agents and helping buyers make smart financial moves. In this episode, we'll talk about how buyers have adapted to industry changes, when agents should reach out to past clients about refinancing opportunities, and how the best agent-lender partnerships create long-term value. Stick around for Rapid Fire, where we find out who's fluent in another language, who had longer hair in high school, and a few other fun surprises. Val, Mike, welcome to my podcast, Corr Values. It is so great to have two of my favorite loan officers sitting across from me here this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
This
I'm
is
excited.
awesome.
There's been a lot of conversation, right?
Yeah.
Real estate, rates, what's going to happen. So there's a lot for us to break down today. So we ready for it?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's talk about, I feel like we were in conversation so much last year because of what was going on with the NAR lawsuit, right? We had a whole new way of agents having to be able to do business. There was a lot of fear around our buyers, making sure that we were going to be able to support them, but that agents were also going to be able to figure out how to get paid, right? Their commission situation. So from your perspective, it's been over a year now. How have buyers adapted to this new way of doing business when they're buying a house?
I think they've adapted really well with the assistance of their agent. The buyer-broker agreement that agents had to start getting signed really helped kind of kick off that relationship with the buyer where, believe it or not, because we prepared a lot, there are not many transactions where the buyer is paying a whole lot of the commission. I mean, maybe, believe it or not, like 1-2% of transactions. Like it just isn't happening. And if they are, it's not the full 2.5-3%. It could be 0.5%, maybe at the most 1%, just because sellers are still willing to pay it if their price is right. So they were always paying it, as we always say.
Yeah. And then we have creative ways of building it into the loan. So if, let's say, just to use a number, the property's $1 million and the buyer needs to pay out of pocket $8,000. We can structure the loan or the purchase price at $108 and take that off through the mortgage process by building in that $8,000 additional that they have to pay. But obviously it has to appraise and so forth. But we've only done it a handful of times. Nothing really has changed.
Yeah. And are you surprised about that? Because I think there was just such this panic.
There was a lot of fear.
Yeah. Because there always is, right? Before something's going to happen and you don't know how it's going to play out. And now it's kind of like, I just heard that statement. I don't want to say it's like a nothing burger, but it thankfully, right? It has actually been much smoother.
I think the prep and the expectations was always there. The fear was a little bit there in the beginning, but once, the purchase contracts with the buyer agreement started coming in, it was a non-issue. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, there was so much preparation.
Yeah.
I mean, across the country, agents really sitting down, taking training to get ready for it, because it's half their business. The buyer's like, how am I going to approach a buyer and talk about what I get paid? It was a really big deal. So I feel like at Properties, a lot of brokerages got behind it, and the agents did too. So when it was time to have that conversation, it happened, but it didn't really change how anyone did business. And again, the sellers very often were, hey, give me my price, and we'll still go back to how we've always done things, which is the seller pays both sides of the commission.
But it's truly the buyer that's paying.
Right.
Because they're paying a certain
it's in the price.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they're paying it all.
If
they're willing to do it, they're paying it
they're
all.
paying
Right?
it in the price.
Yeah.
And how you structure the price and for us, we would just be creative on 2% of all the loans that we've taken on since the NAR.
Yeah. And I think the thing too, I think the biggest difference, which was the blessing, I think for all of us, was the forcing of a buyer broker agreement.
Yeah.
Because I think what it's allowing, and I'm curious if you're having earlier conversations with buyers as a result of it, but it's forcing an agent to sit down and say, look, if you want to buy and you're serious, here's how it goes. And they're giving them a lot more. And I'm not saying agents didn't do this beforehand, but now it's like every agent is really having to do that because you have to have some conversation in order to have them to sign something. And I feel like most agents now are also talking about what's going to happen. Let's talk about these scenarios if we go in and offer something and how commission is structured. Yeah. And are you involved in those conversations? Do you find that some of your agents will pull you in, or how are you?
Very seldom for me.
Okay.
Very seldom.
I mean, but back to it being greatly positive for us in our business, our relationship with the agent, because we have to be, on their team. We know that their buyer is more solidified and ready, and conversations have been had, not just, oh, you want to go see that place, hop in my car. It's more, a greater conversation. And that leads to kind of staying ahead of the game on a pre-approval or a lender introduction or an attorney introduction or whatever it is. So it's been that agreement has been great for us because the transaction is like kind of set up before a lot earlier than it used to be.
Yeah, which I love. And I think it just further professionalizes all of us, right? So I actually think, as scary as it was, this was a great direction for us long term to just sort of establish our value, establish an independence between a list agent and a buy-side agent, right? And being able to really lock in with clients who want to work with us.
Yeah, yes. And the conversation did happen. You would talk to the agent. Hey, I've already talked to the buyer. In pre-approving them, tell them that there's a possibility that they might have not just closing costs, but closing costs plus my commission. Mm-hmm. Let's not scare them. Let's not freak anyone out with kind of the new changes, but have them be prepared, make sure they have the money in the bank. So it changed the pre-approval a little bit to where we just kind of had to, again, like the agent, be a little ahead of our game and verify a few more things up front. But again, it makes for a much smoother full transaction purchase process and loan process,
which is great. And I do want to just reiterate that you said only 2%, you would say on average, of most of your deals are where the buyer is really having to bring additional funds.
Correct.
And get creative.
And not the full amount. I have not had one buyer that had to bring in the full amount.
Agree.
Yeah.
Same.
So I just think that's important to know, right? Because it's like, what's really happening out there, and what is it that we think might actually
And we're kind of shocked by it too, because we did so much preparing for it. I was
I'm
ready for all these conversations that aren't happening.
Yes. Well, I mean, much better to be over-prepared and ready for anything and it go much better than we expected, right?
Correct.
All right. Well, I want to move into the world of conversation that we're having right now, which is all about refinancing. Are rates going to go up? Are rates going to go down? And, when we're talking here today in October, we may not air and for a few more weeks. So what we know today could be different when people are watching this. But just in general, I know that right now, even for myself, just looking at it, it's like, what's going to make the difference? Because rates are kind of coming down, then sometimes they come up, but it's like, is it a quarter point? Is it a half a point for most people? Like, even just for agents to know if there's a big enough drop of something happening, when should they be reaching out? What's going to be a trigger point for somebody wanting to refinance? Because it doesn't always make sense, right? I mean, sometimes they're not saving enough and they better wait until it drops further to make it worth their while.
In Illinois, we're kind of lucky where the closing cost is what we focus on, right?
Okay.
So in Illinois, there's no transfer stamps like Florida or Minnesota has. So the closing costs, in my opinion, have to be recouped within a year, in my opinion, to make sense. Okay. So if somebody has a really big mortgage, $1 million mortgage, and they can save, let's say, $250 a month in savings, very quick math, times 12 months, that's $3,000. A year of savings will cover their closing costs.
Okay.
So that is my basis of figuring out if refinancing right now makes sense. Now, an agent might not have that kind of quick knowledge. So I would say a half a point is a really good starter to a conversation. So if somebody has 6.99 and they can be brought down to 6.5, it's a really good reach out.
Okay.
And let the lender, like Mike or I, figure out the logistics of the monthly, savings and how quickly they can recoup the cost. It's all about the cost driven.
Okay.
I have a lot of clients that are on the fence. They're like, well, we're going to wait till March to see where the rates are in March, but for 7 months, they can be saving $250 and they're missing the opportunity of maybe the rates are not going to go any further. So for me, the rule of thumb is savings over the course of a certain amount of time.
Interesting.
And it's a tough question and a tough answer because
is it it depends answer?
It's like what is their loan size? $1 million loan and a $100,000 loan, the savings on a rate drop is different. State specific, the closing costs can be different, but exactly what Val said. What are you paying and what are you saving? And there's some kind of quick math and easy math there. But for an agent, I think like right now, we don't know where rates are going to be when we air, but it's like we're at a pretty much 2-year low. So let's get excited. Like we've been sitting in real estate, low inventory, high interest rates. Like it's been a couple of years of us waiting for this. So now that rates are going down, they have already, reach out to your client to at least suggest or open up the conversation. The agent does not need to be the expert in the savings and where rates are at. They just need to remind them to reach out to us or reconnect with us. So I think we usually say like 0.5% is a good start for almost everybody. Again, cost specific, but we definitely have people jump at a quarter. So
but
less,
it's also a really good time to convert somebody that's in a 30-year mortgage to a shorter term. So many transactions that I have currently in my pipeline, I've converted a 30-year mortgage into a 20.
Wow.
Where their payment does go up a little bit, maybe goes up a couple
So it's
$100.
counterintuitive.
It's
your payment's going up,
but the big picture
Yeah.
is they're shaving off 120 payments, which is
Wow.
10 years of mortgage payments. It could be so substantially significant.
and a ton of that interest, right? That's what you're shaving
interest
off because
is
you're
what
paying
you're shaving
principal
off.
faster.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And the higher payment goes all to principal.
Yes.
So when you look at the amortization schedule, if they're not going to stay in the property for 20 years, but they're going to sell in 5, they would have paid down the principal so significantly if they were still in the 30. So it's just a really good, again, reach out for the agents to say, hey, you are at 7%. Why don't you talk to my preferred lender, Mike or Val, and see if they can convert you into a 20-year.
And I think when we were talking earlier, you had said that the 20-year is actually at a pretty decent rate.
It's a better rate than
it was
a
like
30.
It's lower than the 30, yeah.
$5.99.
So you open the conversation, and some people, I think your reaction was, what, refinance and my payment goes up? No. But then some people come at it, wait, you're shaving off, now I'm listening. You're shaving off how many years? My payment's going up how much? Okay, and then they kind of do the math and make the decision. But a lot of people are really, if you're savvy, interested in shaving off those years and coming out of pocket a little bit more because they bought the house a few years ago and they're all settled in and now they can afford that.
Yeah.
Some people can't, but some people can't. So it's like all those conversations of, does a refinance make sense? Okay, let's start unraveling this because there's a lot for every situation.
But it's just really easy math. You take whatever your payment is times 120 payments, could be 300, 500, 600,000 in savings.
Yeah.
So it's a really good
Big money.
reach out for the agent.
Well, and it's just knowledge is power,
Yes.
right? And I think one of the other things, we just had our summits these past couple of weeks. And, one of the things we were talking about is that, you also don't want to wait to reach out to somebody when all of a sudden rates dropped that day.
Yeah.
Because the reality is like, look, people have lives. They put stuff on credit cards and, they kind of build up some debt. And sometimes when it's time to refinance, it's like, ooh, I needed to pull some money to get that credit card, so that my credit score is where it should be. Like sometimes there's a couple of like dynamics that have to, be perfect in order for them to really benefit. And it's, not everyone, maybe it's just me that is always like, oh, I got to get my credit card paid down. But, usually it's like they need a little bit of time to be ready to take advantage of refinancing. So that's why.
We also have software that tells us what the client needs to do to improve their credit scores.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a very easy software to use.
Love it.
And it's really your utilization of your credit most of the time. So we can take a look at that, and I can improve somebody's credit 20, 30, 40 points and get them ready to refinance.
And get them a better rate.
And get them a better rate.
And that's the name of the game, right?
And the agent is just opening the door with their past client to a conversation between them, but then also the door with us, where a refinance doesn't mean rates are at 6.5 today, locked today, let's move forward to closing in 3 weeks. It's like there's a lot of people, almost I would say half are, all right, thanks Mike for letting me know. Let me think about this. They might miss the boat.
Yeah.
That would not be great. But if interest rates keep going lower, people won't, and they can get their finances, they can get their life in order, because not everyone is ready to get a full DocuSign mortgage application the next day. And it's like, honey, did you tell me this was coming? And it's like, it's a lot. So
and there can be an agreement, like, you know, after you have a conversation with them, if the terms or the rates get to this, then we want to be ready to lock in. And if you say, hey, this might happen in the next 3 to 6 months, let's keep, you know, your credit where it's at. It's like everybody now is in the ballgame.
We do that all the time.
Yeah.
Let's get you ready. If your hot point or your certain rate is X, we'll reach out the day that happens.
And I love this.
Totally
this is like so great, because agents right now are like, what should I be reaching out and talking about? This is a great topic. This is a great conversation. And one of the things that I want to understand is, you know, so the agent's role as an advisor isn't just when they're ready to buy and sell. It's all the in-between stuff, including this. But, you know, help me understand rates. I know we had talked about this. Rates peaked 2 years ago this October. So October of 2023, they were like, were they in the eights for this? Did they hit 8 or?
I don't think they hit 8,
but they were pretty close. They were set high 7s or something.
Yeah, it was real close.
Real close. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some people that are sitting in maybe not such pretty rate right now.
Right.
You know, how do agents figure out who they should be reaching out to?
They should look at when their transactions happen.
Okay. And then is there a way for them to get from their OriginPoint loan officer kind of a chart that says in October of 2023 rates were roughly 7.99%? In November, like, do you all have that, or is it
they
something
not
you
only
could
can
pull?
get that chart, but they can get any transactions we closed. We can say, hey, here's the chart. How far back do you want to go? I would suggest 2 years. Hey, you referred a dozen buyers to me that closed in the last 2 years. Here's their rates. Here's who I think you should reach out to first. I mean, we're talking that takes minutes. It was, you know, of those 12 buyers, 3 of them are really sitting close to that 8 range. So let's start with those. We can even like script a conversation. I mean, usually agents want to do it themselves their way. It's a friend or, you know, whatever the relationship is with the past client.
I call it a mortgage checkup. That's a really good way to
And
do
do
it.
you reach out to clients directly, or do you usually try to pull the agent in and
depends.
say,
Both.
Both. It really depends.
Because the transaction might not have had an agent on it, or so we're doing outreach all the time because we want to close those transactions and have them take on the benefit of the savings. Like it's a very great conversation to call someone and say, hey, me again. You might have forgotten about me. Maybe you got some pieces in the mail from me, but it's 2 years later. Mike here, we can save you $350 a month. And it's like, oh, and sometimes it's let's wait, but a lot of times it's like they're ready to go and super excited because they've also been waiting 2 years.
Yeah.
Especially if the rates are as close to that 8 that we talked about.
Yeah, for sure.
But I want to bring up another fact. So we know how many cash transactions are out there that we did not have those clients as clients. Obviously, they're paying cash. And I think the cash transactions right now, with the market doing so phenomenally, the agents can reach out to the cash buyers and say, hey, I know you bought this property with cash, but maybe if you want to pull the money out right now and put a mortgage on your house and take
any
that
amount.
money in any amount.
About $1 million house, you want a couple $100,000 out. It doesn't have to be like some,
money.
It doesn't have to be 80-20.
They can take that money, call their financial planner. Obviously, if somebody's paying cash for a house, they have financial planners, and put that money back into their portfolio. I mean, I'm not a financial planner, but the money is growing compounding interest exponentially right now. The market is doing so well. So why not take a mortgage on their home and have a mortgage write-off? Now with the changes with the new administration, the interest write-off and the SALT changes, they can propose a significant tax write-off on their personal tax returns and advise them to put the cash back with their financial plan.
And feel
Which
good
might be
about it.
making a
And
better
it
return
feels
that
real-
offsets
yes,
the mortgage
yes,
rate.
And
And
it's a
they
brilliant
passed, they paid
reach
cash,
out.
they passed on the 8% rate, then rates are down into the low 6s, and it's like, okay, now I'm going to borrow that money. I didn't waste all that money on
And
a
they don't
higher
have to
interest
borrow
rate for
the
2
entire
years.
And they could
amount.
do a 20-year mortgage instead of a 30-year
Correct.
mortgage.
And have their money
Exactly.
grow for them
Look at me,
while
I'm
their
learning a lot.
property
Now we're
is
getting somewhere. This is
appreciating
great.
8% in the short. Yes.
Well, what I like is that there's just a lot of creativity out there
Yes.
right now. And I think, there's, in my mind, sort of this gap of agents trying to figure out how can I be valuable? What can I reach out about? And this to me is tangible stuff because this is helping clients save money or allocate their money correctly so that they are getting the most advantage out of what they've got in their mortgage and what they can even have in the market, right?
Yes.
Depending on where their money is moved. And to me, I feel like that's real value, so
And
I'm
there's so many
excited about
moving
that.
parts over the last few years for people. Another one is they bought before they sold. So then they sold their house and they have a little bit, some money on the sidelines to put towards them. So sometimes you make the phone call. Not only do you move to the 20-year or a 15-year, but they're also, hey, I want to throw $100,000 towards the mortgage because we have that in the bank or the market's been great or whatever. So again, so many angles to where people really want to have the conversation. So agents should really be making that approach.
It's improving
Like
their clients'
they're ready to have it.
positions.
And I know sometimes agents get worried about kind of the financial side of things for their clients, but the reality is, they are responsible for helping them find and maintain their largest asset. You're already in there. You're already doing numbers with them. So in my opinion, if you're bringing this added value, and as an agent, it's like if you're not comfortable with this language or talking, have a session, sit down with your loan officer and say, hey, like, how do I present this? To your point, Mike, we'll help you with the text message. We'll help you with what that talk track is. Because the worst thing that we can do as an agent is be afraid to call or be afraid to have the conversation that could really impact a client financially. I think that's a huge opportunity, and it's actually really exciting if agents lean into it.
Right.
So I want to ask this, kind of goes into this really. So, oftentimes we're transactional with our loan officers. We're working on them, as it relates to our clients. But, there's more to the relationship than just the transaction piece. There's really an opportunity to work together to grow business for both the loan officer and the agent. And what I love so much, and I get so excited by our OriginPoint team, because you guys are phenomenal and you've done a ton to help the agents that really lean into you. Tell me some ideas or, things that you've seen loan officers and agents doing to really kind of build business and grow together.
I love when an agent, they get going in the business, maybe they're a few years in, they try certain tools that maybe At Properties offers, whether it's a mailer or certain campaigns, and they start getting business, and then they come to the loan officer to say, hey, we've worked together a few times or maybe even once. There's a cost to some of these things, but here's what I've already gotten out of it. Why don't we continue to ramp up? If you're doing 100 postcards, you do 400, or if you're doing 400, you do 800, whatever it is. Partnering with an agent in that way where they already kind of know what's working for them, and then you kind of share that cost, so then you're both benefiting from it. Like if you mail someone a postcard with my information on it, they're probably not calling me, but the agent, working together and sharing that cost is huge for a lot of agents. And then they go from, that newer $5 million broker to, quickly 10 and 15, and all of a sudden you're kind of growing and you're a team together. So I would say that's really important.
And I love sponsoring events. I've had from doggy daycare car washes to mani-pedis.
We do a ton of those.
I know.
I do less mani-pedis,
Yeah.
but the car wash
I've done
stuff
car
works great.
washes. I've done, like I said, dog parties, bark in the parks.
And are you doing this in alignment with agents?
With an agent,
Okay,
yes.
so you're partnering on these fun
partnering,
events.
fun events.
Okay.
The turnout is always great for a fun idea. We do a lot of broker open houses. We sponsor, it's PR for us, for the other brokers to come through the house. So it's a dual benefit. We support them, and the agents that are coming through that are new to us see that we are supporting the At Properties agents, and I think it's reciprocal.
And I think another thing to touch on is I feel like the best agents really form a great team, and it's not just an attorney and a lender, but it's all services that a buyer or a seller might need. So, and having that up front and having the introduction done the right way, is whether it's email or text or he's going to call you or whatever they prefer is fine. But agents kind of going at the transaction like, oh, I have a guy for everything or a gal. It really makes everyone so much more comfortable, like just from the first go.
Yeah.
So
I love that you're saying that, because in a lot of the coaching that we've done over the years for agents, I always just say you have to be the super connector. You have to be the person that's got a guy, got a girl at all times. But I also say you're kind of like the Tom Brady, one of my favorite quarterbacks. I know it's controversial, but you have got to be the one that knows what the next play is and who's catching that ball at the next play. And you want to be able to trust who those people are. And when you're constantly in transactions where it's a different attorney and a different lender, sometimes things are out of your control, but the more you develop a reputation as an agent that, you want to work with Amy because she's got the most phenomenal resources and she was able to take care of us every step of the way. And the people that she recommended reflected the same philosophy that she had. They showed up, they were on time, they were awesome, right? You are building a reputation. And I think as an agent, you have the ability to say to a lender, to an attorney, this is how I like to work. I want to make sure you're as responsive as I am. I mean, we have some control as an agent to let people into our circle, but I agree with you. I think the agents that go further are the ones that establish a team and they feel really confident and they're leaning in to make sure their teammates are successful and vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So on that note, since I'm, encouraging agents to really formulate the idea of building a relationship, there's many agents I'm sure listening in right now, but what would you recommend if I'm an agent and it's like, I know we've had this relationship with OriginPoint. I've met some of the LOs, they're nice, but I haven't really formulated a relationship. What should be the first step?
Well, I would say, who do you think about a referral? Like, how do they get referred from a past client or a family member? Who do you really trust first? And I would say that would probably be your managing broker. That's in the work environment. But then on top of that, like, you probably have agents or friends they have their little groups, or some would call it cliques in an office, where you have your friends that you also trust. So go to those other agents and say, hey, who do you use? Oh, I've worked with Mike for years, or I've kind of been bouncing around, then maybe don't go to that person, but someone that has a really good, long-standing relationship of that trust. So my answer would be your managing broker, but almost more importantly, your fellow agents.
Yeah.
And, Mike and I are here on your podcast, but we're representing the entire OriginPoint loan officer team. They're phenomenal, each and every one of them. They know what they're doing, the technology we use, the relationships we build. So we're here, but we're representing everybody. And we do have OriginPoint loan officers assigned to every office, and just reach out to them. They will be just as great as we are.
Yeah.
Well, we've been part of At Properties for over 5 years now, and at other mortgage companies before that, where there's not an office within At Properties where there's not agents that already work with someone from OriginPoint. So when you're asking around the office, there's definitely going to be people that are local and are liked and have, again, that level of trust of, hey, he or she got me to the closing table so fast, made sure the appraisal was ordered on time, all the little details, that really, really matter to make the transaction super smooth.
Yeah. And for an agent, you can also really find your fit. I mean, again, I agree with you, Val. I think our team is phenomenal at OriginPoint, but sometimes it is just a personality fit.
Right.
Totally. I would probably need somebody as spazzy as me, right? High pace, fast, going, deal with my phone calls. But there is a loan officer out there for everyone.
Correct.
So, who you have representing your office, while they're great, if they aren't who you feel is a great fit, I would say I would encourage agents to reach out, like you said, to their managing broker or to myself and just say, hey, I'm looking for a match.
And go outside of that office. There's no reason you have to use the person that was assigned to your office. Like, it's the match with you. Like,
Yes.
who do you feel good with? Like,
Or a match to your client.
and pick
Yes.
up the phone. Yeah. And there's the agents that say like, hey, I use 2 different OriginPoint people because, I have very different clients on, maybe in Illinois and Michigan or in different states that might, think differently. But you don't have to use the person in your office. Use who, you pick up the phone and you guys click right away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you two are definitely 2 of the best in the group. We've got a great team, but I know both of you have always just done phenomenal things for, our agents and your clientele. So kudos to the 2 of you
Thank
for
you very much.
building some really phenomenal
Thank you for
businesses.
the opportunity.
Well, we're not done yet.
Oh, boy.
We're not done yet.
we were
This,
close.
my friends, is the fun part. This is the rapid fire. You didn't know about this,
No.
Val? There's this little thing called rapid
Oh, I'm
fire.
really bad at
Because
boy.
while you're
I'm
really good at
sweating.
talking about mortgages, we also
Okay.
want to know a little more about Mike and
boy.
Val. So
Okay.
we're gonna get into this. All right.
Let's
Well,
do
we'll
it.
let Mike go first.
Yeah,
at least
Mike.
on the first question.
He's
Be ready.
sweating.
Okay.
All right. So this is rapid fire. These
Gives
are
me a minute to
your
think about it.
These are your origin stories.
Oh.
Like the play? On
Okay.
OriginPoint?
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
We're good.
Got it,
Boy.
got it.
All right, Mike. What did you do for work before you were a loan officer?
Well, this is kind of embarrassing because I've done nothing else.
Wow.
I graduated from college and I became a loan officer.
Wow. So your origin story is I became a
Yeah.
loan officer.
So I went to college to become a mortgage broker.
There you go.
But
There you go.
I didn't. I was in finance, but yeah, I graduated. I started for a bank and then moved to guaranteed rate a few
right.
years later, which is now rate.
Well,
But
look at you now. You're doing great things. So I'm proud
Thank
of
you.
you. I'm proud of you. All right, Val.
Oh,
beat
boy.
that.
I'll see you and I'll raise you. I used to be a personal shopper at Neiman Marcus and at Saks.
You did
I love
beat
it.
Great job.
Uh-huh.
That
I
is why
beat
she is
you.
always so fabulously dressed. I mean,
Yep.
you did a great job
Thank
today,
you.
Mike.
Occupational
But-
hazard. Thank
Yes.
you. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. How long did you do that for?
Neiman's 8 years, and then Saks and Michigan Avenue for 7.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I
And then
might-
when
I
my
might need
bill
to get
got a
your
little
help
too
someday.
high, my husband said, "That's enough.
I know.
Follow your career path and
You
finance."
can't personally shop for yourself.
Yeah,
It's for
right,
clients only.
exactly.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, now that I know that, I'm definitely calling on you for some much needed
My
fashion
pleasure.
advice. All right, Mike, what's something people might be surprised to learn about you?
So after college, I became a mortgage person. But before college, high school, I had hair down to my shoulders.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
So the visual.
And I also might have had a few earrings.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
wow.
Really? Dang it. We're going to have to find an old picture. We're finding it. We're
Some
finding
high
it.
school and college pictures are, I mean,
Your rebel days?
I was a rebel. And then it was like, how can I not? Oh, I'll just go into mortgages. How about that?
From rebel to London.
Good. That's
Yeah.
hard to beat.
That might be a book
That's
someday.
hard to beat.
All right, Val, what's something people might be surprised to learn about you?
I speak fluent Russian.
Really? Can you say a little something to us?
Здравствуйте, как дела?
And what did you say?
Hi, how are you?
Oh,
Wow.
oh that's awesome. I
didn't
love
even
that. I'm
know
always
that.
so impressed because languages I could write, but speaking it, I always felt like I just
I
sounded...
even speak a
Same.
little Hebrew.
Really?
Yeah. Manishma, Hakol Beseder.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have any languages? Got
No.
anything on?
No.
All right.
Usually you learn languages in high school, and that's when
I
it was,
know.
it was a shaky ground
I
back then
know.
for Mike.
Well, he was too busy
Yeah,
picking
with
out
the
what earring he
earrings.
was going to wear.
Tucking
on
it behind
day.
the ear. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Mike, what's your favorite movie of all time?
It's nerdy. It's Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3.
Oh,
those
boy.
are good.
Michael
Those are
J.
good.
Fox, the best.
The best. Yeah.
Mine's a little heavier.
Okay.
Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, that is
that's-
good
that's
though.
heavy.
I cannot
That is
get
a
enough
good
of
one.
it.
Dang
There's
it.
I think that's
so
in everyone's top
many.
5. It has
Well,
to be.
don't beat me on
Oh,
this.
sorry.
Yeah.
So
It's
good.
so
Should have
good.
came up with that.
It's
yeah,
so good.
it's,
Ooh,
it's
that's a good one.
Lots of messages.
Gosh, all right. And Friday night viewing. I got to bring that one out. Guilty pleasure.
Sweets. Is that not guilty enough?
No, it's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you work out, you have a trainer, and all of a sudden it's like you get home at night and it's been a long day, and you're like, what kind of ice
What's in
cream
the
do we have?
freezer?
And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, the whole workout just kind of melts away. You're
I
like,
know.
damn, why didn't I just go to bed?
I know. Well, there's
Yeah.
like isn't a piece of candy I've never met and not loved.
that's
So-
Are we
Totally.
talking about guilty pleasure food or guilty
Guilty
I went
pleasure,
right to
anything.
food.
activity?
Yeah, I mean, just
You're
food,
into
really.
food. My guilty pleasure.
Might have to do
it's
with
a
shopping?
weird one.
Oh.
Shopping, but estate sailing.
Oh, yes, that
but
is
I
fun.
love to buy estate sale art.
Oh.
I'm very specific.
I love it. I need to go with you. 'Cause
I
need
have a
art for my house.
collection.
All
I
right.
will show
We're
you,
going.
but it's all has to be super inexpensive, but amazing.
Do you like search them out? Like go
I do.
online,
I do.
Like, are there any
Estatesales.net. They post on Thursdays.
Wow. A .net there. Wow.
Yeah, it's a whole app. I have
Wow.
53 pieces from estate sales. I keep
Wow.
a track.
Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Yeah.
She's taking me
I thought I
shopping.
had-
She's helping me to find art.
Yes,
Mike,
I'll
you're
show
taking
you
me to a ball game. All right. I'm liking
We're
this.
gonna have ice
That's
cream
my
cones.
guilty pleasure. That's
Wow,
All
that's
right,
great.
last question as we wrap. This is a fun one. If you could have dinner with anyone in the world, and it can't be me,
dead or alive.
dead or alive, doesn't matter.
Oh.
Anyone in the world, who would it be?
I'd go with alive. I love comedy. I love stand-up comedy. It would probably be a comedian. So I would go with like a Bill Burr or a Jerry Seinfeld,
yeah.
just because I feel like you would just sit there and laugh. It would just be a blast. Where I know some people might go like politicians or some like real dead old guy, and it's like that's not gonna be fun. I want to have fun.
Yeah, I
So
love that.
I'd
Seinfeld.
go a comedian.
Yeah, I like that.
Bethany Frankel.
Oh man, she's the best. She
best.
is a
Skinny
comedian.
girl
Sorry.
margarita?
Yes, but she's
She
so
is a
funny.
comedian. If you
and
watch her on
she's a
social-
self-made,
Yes.
and she's a great mom, and she's
Yes.
an entrepreneur. And
Where did you just pull her from?
I followed
Wow.
her since she was on Roni, Real
Real
Housewives of New York,
I loved
15
her.
years ago.
I watched her wedding
Love her.
too. Did you watch
Yes,
her
yes,
wedding
to
season when she was
Happy,
pregnant?
yeah.
No,
the
I
baby?
didn't.
Oh yeah.
She's
I
the
didn't.
best.
She's just great because
She's
she
great.
just tells you like it is. She
Yeah.
just has this great
She is blunt, yeah.
but
personality.
she's
Yeah.
smart
Yeah.
and witty.
and she's had to build from nothing.
And
into
what
something.
Yeah,
about all
true.
her philanthropy
Yeah,
that she does?
huge.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
love her. I would
That's a
love
good
to have
one.
dinner with her.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Well, let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
All right, Jerry and Bethany.
And Bethany.
I'll work on it.
That'd be
We'll
a great
fix them
roast.
up.
That'd be a great roast.
Yes, you're right. Oh my God. Well, we could talk all day about
Yes.
mortgages or all
Yes.
sorts of things. I want to know more, or I want pictures
you.
about Mike and his earring days and his
Yes.
long hair. I've got
I'll get you pictures.
vision. But I just want to thank the two of you
Oh
so
my
much
God,
for joining
thank
me.
you,
Thank you so much. This was great.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, and thanks to all of you for tuning in. I hope you got some great nuggets of information as it relates to how to work with your loan officer. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time on Corr Values.